Now, how I feel about EOS right now, that's how I feel about EOS. If you've been paying attention to the cryptos across the entire sector, we've had quite a bit of bloodshed, but a couple of these cryptos that really pulled back hard in December are actually looking better than some of the other cryptos. I did an update last night on Bitcoin Cash, which happens to be following the exact same pattern as EOS. And it's almost as if, you know, the higher you go, the harder you fall. Well, we already had a pretty good fall in December for EOS, and we have not yet exceeded that lower low that we had back then. We haven't gotten a lower low than that lower low back then. So if you like to follow along on this chart, I have a link in the description below, so please click that. Might make it a little easier to follow along what I'm going to go over. But our green pattern still holds as it did before. We had our primary pattern, purple pattern, invalidate once we spiked down on December 3rd. Our green pattern is calling for us having bottomed already in a larger wave 2, which of course is noted with the Y nomenclature, because we call this whole thing a double zigzag, because the C wave is in the form of a zigzag. It's not a clear 5-wave impulse. We have what could be considered a first wave up as of December 8th, and we've been pulling back. We pulled back a little deeper than ideal. This purple box was meant to represent the ideal retracement point, I think as low as 61%, something like that. But looks like we've actually broken below the 76.4% retrace level, and I'm not really seeing any signs of the reversal quite yet. So if we do hold that, our green pattern should take us up into the neighborhood of 477 to 515. Those are just the standard Fibonacci extension levels that we'd expect off of this 1-2, if we have 1-2. However, we have the alternate red pattern. So this is a new alternate red pattern that is different from the alternate red pattern that we had before. What used to be the alternate red pattern is what is now our green primary. That was calling for a lower low, and we hit that. That's what the bottom of the wave 2 is. This red pattern is a little bit, it's a little different. It calls for an even deeper low, which will make more sense on the long-term big picture chart. But if we break the low that we hit on December 3rd, right around 233, there's a very good chance we're going to make it all the way down to this purple box. And the linear projections are giving us targets between 89 cents and 49 cents. It looks really bad on the linear chart. Doesn't look as bad on the log chart. So something to look out for. If we do break that, again, we will invalidate the green pattern and the red pattern becomes primary. I'd like to point out the shape of this decline so far. So what that red pattern entails is that we have a first wave down, second wave up right here. Our spike down December 3rd completed a third wave, and then we had a strong fourth wave bounce up. So the fact that each of these subwaves breaks up into three-part ABC patterns tells us a diagonal. You also see that the fourth wave overlapped where the first wave is. So by the textbook, this is a diagonal. In this case, an ending diagonal, because it's a C wave. So therefore, I have some channel trend lines drawn, and it gives us a rough estimate as to when we may actually hit this box. Perhaps sometime later this month, maybe into February. Not completely clear, because again, timing is secondary in Elliott waves. Now on the big picture chart, we have the same thing. Once again, we had what we're calling a 5-wave impulse. That's our major first wave impulse in May of 2021. EOS crashed with everything else in what I was calling the W wave, because it's a 3-wave pattern. You have A, B, C. That's the W wave. A, B, C up for an X wave. And our primary pattern calls for this entire correction being over now. So because this is also an A, B, C 3-wave pattern, this is not really a wave C. We call this a wave Y. So again, a W, X, Y, just typical Elliott wave nomenclature. It's a double 3, double zigzag. Those are the main two names you'll use to describe that. The red pattern, however, you'll notice is a little different. In this case, this is actually an A wave. This bounce is a B wave. And since we are completing a 5-wave ending diagonal, that would qualify as a C wave. So in that case, it wouldn't be considered a double zigzag. We'd actually get that complete 5-wave impulse down or 5-wave diagonal down, which again does have the likelihood of this happening is pretty high right now, and it would actually make a lot more sense that our when we work on the double zigzag ended up being truncated. It just shows you it wasn't truncated. This was actually the 3rd wave down, and we have a 5th wave to follow a bit lower. So once again, we would have to break our low that we hit on December 3rd in order for that to become the primary pattern. If that happens, that would be my primary pattern. As I mentioned in the log chart, the targets are not as dire as they are in the linear chart. We're looking at a target between 214 to 197, somewhere in that range. However, sometimes you have a spike low, so we could go as low as 171. That's what this purple box represents. So once we have that, I would expect to see a sharp reversal. And again, in EOS, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum Classic, Filecoin, this looks like a very complete lower low to me. That would be more than enough to complete a deep wave 2. It would make a lot of sense to me. The reason I'm cautious, however, is because of Bitcoin and Ethereum. So in Bitcoin, I've been reviewing this over the past week or two, how we have a very ominous setup, and Ethereum as well. I'm just going to stick with Bitcoin because the pattern is a bit more clear. This is my logarithmic daily chart of Bitcoin. But if we look at our rally since our low in the midsummer, this is a clear three-wave rally. The red pattern is all but assured at this point. It is my primary pattern at this moment because of how we came down. This looks like a corrective wave up, and then we have a full 5-wave pattern down and hit all the appropriate Fibonacci levels. As a matter of fact, we had a spike down, I think yesterday, something like that, into this box. That's a little hard to see and zoom up a little bit. Based on the proportions we're seeing and based on where our major support would be for a major 4th wave down, which is right around 21,000, actually, I'm sorry, on this chart, it would be, I think, 12,000, something like that. We are looking at this easily being 1 wave down with a 2nd wave bounce coming, basically a fake out rally, whatever, and then possibly an ugly completion to our C wave. That could take us well down, again, below the 24,000 mark, maybe as low as the teens in Bitcoin. Ethereum is projected the same way. We could have a nasty pullback that takes us all the way down to the 1,100, 1,200 range. So this is a very strong possibility. And like I said, right now, red is my primary. We're going to see how the altcoins react to this because I do expect the bounce to start. As a matter of fact, it started today already. You can see a lot of green in my cryptos here. I think, what is it? Polygon had a big day. A couple other ones did too. Polygon seems to always have a big day. But you also have a few, Elrond, which I don't analyze as closely. Polkadot, all these have had strong reversals, which is what you would expect. This is how the sentiment is reset. We talk about irrational exuberance, that whole thing. You might see that at the top of this Bitcoin 2nd wave up, so corrective bounce. What does this mean for EOS? Well, things can oftentimes, the inflection points line up. So we're about to have our lower low, or maybe it's behind us. This might be the end of the pullback that we have so far. While Bitcoin goes up into a fake out 2nd wave bounce, you never know. EOS may have a 1st wave bounce into this green box, and then we could have that 2nd wave down. So, the trends would be the same. It's just the magnitude, the shape. So for EOS, it could be a bullish 1st wave up, while for Bitcoin and Ethereum, it could be a bearish 2nd wave up with a big crash to follow. So not totally clear exactly what's going to happen yet. Again, we have our parameters set. So be open. You don't know what's going to happen next. These are anything but guaranteed. If you want to keep getting my updates on EOS as well as various other cryptocurrencies, don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, thank you for watching and happy trading.